So we continue with some more British pre-decimal coins. Today it's going to be the sixpence, or half a shilling, whatever one wishes to call it. Now we just mentioned that the sixpence, of course, is half a shilling, which means the shilling is worth 12 pennies. And I wanted to get into an issue here where a lot of people have wondered why the shilling was 12 pennies and say not 10, and why Britain ended up having such a complicated system of coins. Well, there is definitely a method to the madness, at least with shillings. Hundreds of years ago, it was difficult for most people in Britain to get good supply of coins, especially small change. So merchants solved the problem by taking a silver coin, and they would chop it into pizza-shaped sections. Shilling, for example, could be cut into halves, thirds, quarters, and sixths. In the case of only if it was only 10 pennies, it could only be cut into halves and fifths. Unless of course you wanted to deal with half, third, and quarters of pennies in this situation. However, eventually it became no longer necessary to chop up coins. So it was around 200 years ago. So decimal coinage then became a more practical alternative. So let's start with this 1834 sixpence. It's a single wreath, and at the top is St. Edward's crown. So a crown at the top there. Now, a quick note on this crown. You will see it on quite a few other British coins, as a matter of fact, and some Canadian coins too. The current British monarch should mention that she does not wear the St. Edward's crown. She finds it rather heavy. She prefers the imperial state crown. Now that crown I will point out later because it's on some other coins. Now the monarch on this one is William the Fourth. Yeah, there he is, William the Fourth. The picture's pretty well worn, but yeah, he was the king just before Queen Victoria. That's him there, William the Fourth. Now, keeping that in mind, though, that doesn't necessarily mean that Queen Elizabeth's grandson, Prince William, will call himself William the Fifth when he becomes king. He could, but he doesn't have to. But anyway, there's William the Fourth. So in 1887, the design changed to a shield. The royal shield, but unfortunately I don't have a that design for this on the sixpence. When I show the shilling next time, I'll show you what the shield looks like. But then it changed back to this wreath again in 1893. In 1911, it underwent a more permanent change, and here we have the lion. A lion standing on top of a crown. There we go. Look at that there. And the lion is also wearing a crown on his head. Could it be the St. Edward's crown? You never know. I'm sure it wouldn't be too heavy for him. The crown that the lion is standing on, though, is the imperial state crown. The one that I mentioned that the Queen likes to wear at special occasions whenever a crown is called for, without the lion, just the crown. So the design changed again in 1927, and this was the oak leaves and acorn design. You may if you see my previous video when I discussed the threepence, it also had an acorn and oak leaf design. In this case, though, instead of 3 acorns, there's 6 of them. No surprise there. Spoiler alert: the shilling, which I will show in a future video, does not have a design with 12 acorns. That would probably get a little bit crazy. This particular one, this one's in almost perfect condition here. There's George V on this side. There he is. This one is in almost perfect condition, and it would cost about $30 US. So getting a little expensive for young collectors. However, I do want to let you know that the other coins that I'm showing in this will be about $10 or less. This one, though, I just thought I'd mention, is particularly nice. Most of the sixpence silvers, even going back to Victoria, even as far back as Prince William, most of them in well-worn condition are less than $10. So in 1937, the design changed to the royal initials with the crown on top. Now this is a different crown yet again. I pointed out the St. Edward's crown and the Imperial State Crown, but this one, I don't know. This one, I'm fortunately not been able to find out what crown this is. I get a funny feeling that this, in fact, is probably just a hypothetical crown. That is, it's not intended to represent a specific British crown. It was just a design that some artist came up with that happened to go very nicely with the royal initials, GR, underneath the crown. And then the sixpence, and no surprise here, by 1947 it had switched to cupronickel. Same design, as you can see here, but it had switched to cupronickel. Now, the funny thing about the cupronickel, as I've probably mentioned in the past, was 75% copper and 25% nickel. That particular mix, what's nice about it is that the coin is still the same weight as the old silver coin was. Oh, by the way, before it was switched to cupronickel, it was 50% silver, and of course it had been 92.5% silver before 1920. And of course, World War I made a mess of things, and the silver was reduced. So there's the first cupronickel, 1947, and again with the royal initial design. Then the next thing that happened is that India gained independence, and George VI was no longer the Emperor of India. So the design was changed, where we removed the part of the legend around the rim of the coin saying Ind Imp, I-N-D-I-M-P, which is short for the Latin phrase India Imperator, Emperor of India. Well, he was no longer Emperor of India as of this date, so we have just at the top here, and we no longer have Emperor of India, we just have the FIDDEF, which is short for Fide Defensor, Defender of the Faith. And the initials have changed. You'll notice they are much larger in relation to the crown. So we get, I guess it was decided that by removing some of the legend, they wanted to fill in some of the empty space with larger initials. And there it is. This one is 1949. And then the final design change happened to the sixpence starting in 1953. This is 1955. This one is a floral design, and what's nice about it is it has the different flowers on it. It has a rose to symbolize England, a thistle to symbolize Scotland, a leek to symbolize Wales, and a shamrock to symbolize Northern Ireland. All four regions together make up the United Kingdom. And now some of you may wonder what's the difference between the United Kingdom and Great Britain, which is what I have written on here. Now the difference is that Great Britain is England, Scotland, and Wales, but not Northern Ireland. If you include Northern Ireland, then we're talking about the United Kingdom. So why do I put Great Britain on the coins, even though these coins are also used in Northern Ireland, or they were until 1971? It was just a habit that I developed because the World Coin Catalog that I mentioned last week, and no, I'm not sponsored by them, but the standard catalog of world coins refers to British coins under the title Great Britain, not United Kingdom. Some would argue that is a mistake, but I won't get into that. Anyway, I've always I just generally call it, say, Britain. And these are British coins. And as I say, also pre-decimal, which before the decimal era. At some point, of course, I'll probably go over some of the, maybe some over the interesting decimal coins that make an appearance after 1971. But that's the sixpence that we have covered for today. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, and I know some of you watching my videos haven't subscribed, so please do. And of course, don't forget to ring the bell. And if you have any questions, please post in the comments. And if you have any suggestions for economical collectible coins, please let me know. I might have it in my collection, or I might be able to go out and purchase it somewhere because it'll be affordable. And I thank everybody for listening, and stay safe out there.